The vast emptiness of space stretched out before Hyunwoo Park, his dark eyes scanning the holographic displays of his rescue vessel. Something wasn't right. A faint distress signal flickered at the edge of his sensor range, weak but persistent. Most pilots would have ignored it. Space was dangerous, and unexpected rescues could mean certain death. But Hyunwoo wasn't like most pilots. His fingers danced across the control panels, redirecting the ship's course towards the mysterious signal. As he approached, the damaged vessel came into view. It was unlike anything he had seen before. A research ship torn apart by what looked like a violent collision with space debris. Multiple hull breaches exposed twisted metal and flickering electrical systems. No normal ship could survive such damage. But something moved inside. Hyunwoo's training kicked in. He quickly calculated the risks. The ship's atmosphere was rapidly depleting. Whatever life remained inside had minutes, not hours. His own ship's safety protocols screamed at him to maintain distance, to call for backup, to do anything but what he was about to do. He ignored them all. Maneuvering with precision that spoke of years of experience, Hyunwoo brought his rescue vessel closer. The damaged ship's hull was jagged, unpredictable. One wrong move would tear both vessels apart. His hands moved with practiced calm, engaging emergency magnetic connectors and emergency seal protocols. Inside the damaged vessel, 3 alien researchers huddled in what remained of their research chamber. Jae-sung, the oldest, had already accepted their fate. Some Min, younger and more desperate, kept trying to restart failing systems. Yeon-ji, the youngest, simply watched the walls, waiting for the inevitable. They didn't expect a rescue. Certainly not from a human. Hyunwoo's voice crackled through their communication systems. Preparing emergency extraction. Remain calm and follow instructions. It wasn't a request. It was a command. The rescue was anything but smooth. Debris kept blocking his path. Electrical surges threatened to disable his own ship's systems. At one point, a massive piece of twisted metal nearly punctured his vessel's hull. But Hyunwoo remained focused, his movements calculated and precise. Inch by inch, he maneuvered closer. The alien researchers watched in stunned silence as specialized rescue arms extended from his ship. These weren't standard equipment. These were custom-designed emergency extraction mechanisms that could work across multiple biological configurations. Sung Min was the first to be pulled across. Then Yeon-ji. Finally, Jae-sung. Each transfer was a delicate dance of technology and human skill, with milliseconds separating success from catastrophic failure. As the last researcher crossed over, the damaged ship finally gave way. It exploded in a silent burst of light and debris, spreading fragments across the dark canvas of space. If Hyunwoo had been seconds slower, all would have been lost. Inside his ship's medical bay, the 3 alien researchers lay unconscious. Medical nanobots worked quickly, stabilizing their conditions and repairing critical injuries. They looked fragile, almost peaceful. Hyunwoo allowed himself a small smile. Another successful rescue. He didn't know then that this rescue would change everything. He didn't realize that the very beings he had just saved would soon become his greatest challenge. For now, he was just a pilot who had done his job. Just another day in the vast, unforgiving darkness of space. As he set coordinates for the nearest medical station, Hyunwoo checked his ship's systems. Everything was functioning normally. No damage, no complications, just another routine rescue. If only he knew what was coming. The ship hummed softly, carrying its unexpected passengers through the endless void, a testament to one man's commitment to saving life, regardless of its origin or form. 3 weeks after the rescue, Hyunwoo received a strange package. Official seals from the Galactic Judicial Council covered its surface, looking intimidating and cold. He didn't understand why an official document would arrive at his personal residence. When he opened the package, legal papers fell onto his coffee table. The top sheet was written in multiple languages, but the message was clear. He was being sued for unauthorized intervention in alien research protocol. The three researchers he had saved, Jae Sung, Sung Min, and Eun Ji, were filing a formal complaint. Their argument was bizarre. They claimed Hyun-woo had violated their species' most sacred cultural practice of accepting a predetermined transition ceremony, essentially their ritualistic approach to potential death. Jae Sung, the lead researcher, wrote a personal statement detailing how Hyun-woo's rescue had disrupted their spiritual journey. According to their culture, being saved against their will was considered a grave spiritual offense. They believed that interrupting their potential death experience was worse than death itself. Hyun-woo couldn't believe what he was reading. He had risked his life to save them, and now they were suing him. The legal documents demanded significant financial compensation and formal public apology. His lawyer, Ji-yeon Kim, reviewed the papers carefully. She explained that this was more than just a simple lawsuit. This was a complex interstellar legal challenge that could set precedents for future rescue operations. "They're not just suing you," Ji-yeon told him during their first meeting. "They're challenging the entire human approach to life preservation." The case quickly caught media attention. News networks began broadcasting updates, interviewing experts about cross-species cultural practices and rescue protocols. Some supported Hyun-woo, calling him a hero. Others argued that cultural respect should supersede rescue attempts. Hyun-woo's rescue video went viral. People watched how he had carefully extracted the three alien researchers from their doomed ship. The footage showed his precision, his courage, his complete disregard for personal safety. But the legal battle was just beginning. The first court hearing was set in the Interstellar Tribunal, a massive structure orbiting a neutral space station. Representatives from dozens of alien species would observe the proceedings. This wasn't just a local court case. This was a galactic event. Jae Sung and his research team arrived with their own legal representation. They wore traditional ceremonial robes, presenting themselves as victims of unauthorized intervention. Their lawyer argued that human rescue protocols were invasive and disrespectful of their cultural practices. Hyun-woo listened in disbelief. He had saved their lives, and they were treating him like a criminal. Ji-yeon prepared their defense meticulously. She gathered testimonies from other rescue pilots, medical experts, and cultural anthropologists. Her strategy was to prove that the universal right to preserve life transcended specific cultural rituals. "We're not just defending my client," she told the tribunal. "We're defending the fundamental principle of life preservation across all known species." The first hearing lasted 8 hours. Complex arguments were presented, translation devices working overtime to communicate nuanced legal points across different languages and cultural contexts. As Hyun-woo sat in the massive courtroom, he realized this was more than a personal legal battle. This was about defining the boundaries of compassion in an interstellar society. Nobody knew how the tribunal would rule. The case could change rescue protocols forever. One man's split-second decision to save lives was now being dissected by the most powerful judicial system in the known galaxy. And Hyun-woo was at the center of it all. The hearing adjourned. More sessions would follow. The legal nightmare was just beginning, and nobody could predict its outcome. The Interstellar Tribunal was unlike any courtroom Hyun-woo had seen before. Holographic displays floated around the circular chamber, translating multiple languages simultaneously. Representatives from over 20 different alien species watched with intense curiosity. Ji-yeon Kim stood confidently beside Hyun-woo. Her dark suit contrasted with the complex alien clothing surrounding them. She knew this wasn't just a legal battle. This was a cultural confrontation that could change interstellar rescue protocols forever. Jae Sung and his research team sat opposite them. Their alien features remained calm, but a subtle tension rippled through their body language. They believed Hyun-woo had committed a grave cultural violation by saving their lives. The chief judicial officer, a tall blue-skinned alien with multiple translucent eyes, began the proceedings. "This tribunal will examine the rescue operation conducted by human pilot Hyun-woo Park and determine whether his actions violated fundamental cultural rights." Ji Yin spoke first. My client performed a standard rescue operation. The research vessel was critically damaged. Waiting for official clearance would have resulted in certain death for all 3 researchers. The alien prosecutor countered immediately. Death is not an endpoint for our species. It is a sacred transition. By interrupting this process, the human violated our most fundamental spiritual beliefs. Hyun-woo watched the arguments unfold. He remembered that moment in space, the split-second decision to save lives. How could he explain that human instinct to preserve life at all costs? Evidence began to emerge. Sensor logs from Hyun-woo's rescue ship were displayed as massive holographic projections. They showed the exact moment of rescue, the precise calculations, the extreme risks he had taken. Sung Min, one of the rescued researchers, was called to testify. Unlike Jae-sung, he seemed conflicted. His testimony revealed something unexpected: uncertainty about their original mission. We were conducting research, Sung Min explained, but not all of us agreed with the mission's parameters. This statement created a ripple of surprise through the tribunal. What were they really researching? Why were they in such a dangerous location? Ji Yin seized the opportunity. My client saved not just lives, but potentially prevented a larger catastrophe. The rescue was an act of universal compassion. The alien prosecutor tried to maintain their argument. Compassion cannot override cultural sacred practices. Our transition ceremonies are not negotiable. But doubt had been introduced. The tribunal members began asking probing questions. They wanted to understand the complete context of the rescue, not just the cultural argument. Hyun-woo remained silent, but his presence was powerful. A simple human pilot who had made an extraordinary decision in a moment of crisis. His calm demeanor spoke volumes. Hours passed. Witnesses were called. Technical experts explained rescue protocols. Cultural anthropologists discussed the complex nature of interspecies interactions. The tribunal took multiple breaks. Behind the scenes, diplomatic negotiations were happening. This case was more than a legal dispute. It was a potential diplomatic incident. As the first day of the trial concluded, no clear winner had emerged. The complexity of the case was becoming apparent. This wasn't just about one rescue. This was about defining the boundaries of life preservation across different species. Hyun-woo looked at Jae-yeon. She gave him a subtle nod. They both knew the real battle was just beginning. The alien researchers watched him carefully. Jae-sung's expression remained unreadable. But Sung Min seemed different, almost grateful. Outside the tribunal, news networks were broadcasting every detail. Millions across different planets were watching this unprecedented legal drama unfold. One simple rescue, countless complex consequences. The trial would continue, and nobody knew how it would end. The fourth day of the trial brought an unexpected twist that nobody saw coming. During a routine review of the research team's mission logs, a junior technical analyst discovered something alarming hidden deep within encrypted files. Sung Min, one of the rescued researchers, looked increasingly nervous as more details emerged. His body language betrayed a growing sense of panic that didn't go unnoticed by Hyun-woo or Jae-yeon. The encrypted files revealed a shocking truth. The research vessel wasn't on a peaceful scientific mission as originally claimed. Instead, they were conducting illegal environmental experiments that could potentially destroy entire planetary ecosystems. Jae-sung's calm exterior began to crack. The lead researcher realized their carefully constructed narrative was falling apart. The sacred transition ceremony argument was now looking like a desperate attempt to cover up something much larger. Jae-yeon quickly requested a complete forensic analysis of the mission logs. Her strategic mind saw an opportunity to completely change the direction of the trial. What had seemed like a cultural dispute was transforming into a potential criminal investigation. The tribunal's atmosphere changed dramatically. What began as a hearing about cultural violations was now becoming an inquiry into potential interstellar environmental crimes. Hyun-woo watched silently, understanding that his simple rescue might have prevented something far more significant than anyone initially realized. The 3 researchers he had saved might have been involved in a massive ecological threat. Sung Min broke under questioning. He revealed that their research team had been developing experimental technologies designed to manipulate planetary environments. These technologies could potentially destroy entire ecosystems within months. We were not on a spiritual journey, Sung Min admitted. We were conducting unauthorized and extremely dangerous experiments. The revelation sent shockwaves through the tribunal. Representatives from multiple planetary systems began demanding more information. What seemed like a simple rescue was now uncovering a potential interstellar conspiracy. Jae Sung and the other researchers were suddenly on the defensive. Their elaborate lawsuit against Hyunwoo was crumbling. The cultural ceremony argument looked like nothing more than a desperate legal strategy to avoid investigation. Technical experts began presenting complex data showing the potential impact of the research team's experiments. Graphic simulations demonstrated how their technologies could cause massive environmental destruction across multiple planetary systems. Hyunwoo's rescue was now being viewed as something heroic. By saving these researchers, he had potentially prevented a massive ecological disaster that could have affected hundreds of planets. Media coverage exploded. News networks began broadcasting the revelations 24 hours a day. The trial was no longer just a legal proceeding. It had become a global spectacle that captured the imagination of multiple species. Ji-yeon pressed their advantage. My client did more than rescue 3 individuals, she argued. He potentially saved entire planetary ecosystems from deliberate, unauthorized destruction. The tribunal's chief judicial officer looked increasingly concerned. The case had transformed from a cultural dispute into a potential criminal investigation involving multiple serious violations of interstellar environmental protocols. Sung Min's testimony continued to reveal more shocking details. The research team had been operating outside of official sanctioned research guidelines. They had multiple failed experiments that they had deliberately hidden from official records. Hyunwoo felt a mix of emotions. What had started as a routine rescue was now revealing a complex web of scientific misconduct and potential ecological terrorism. The tribunal scheduled additional hearings to investigate the full extent of the research team's activities. Jae Sung and the other researchers were now facing potential criminal charges that extended far beyond their original lawsuit against Hyunwoo. As the day concluded, it was clear that everything had changed. The narrative had completely shifted. Hyunwoo was no longer the defendant. He was becoming recognized as an unexpected hero who had potentially saved multiple planetary systems. The trial would continue. But now, everything was different.